It's WBTC, I Will Survive. That's Gloria Gaynor. And what a lead-in to welcome the doc in on a Tuesday morning. We always visit with our good friend, Dr. Tim McKnight from Trinity Hospital, Twin City. And, boy, that could be your theme song, I Will Survive.
Survival of the fittest. That's what it's all about.
Isn't that the truth? And, well, it's the 1st of October. Where has time gone this year?
Doesn't feel like October for sure.
Well, it's going to feel more like August, no doubt about it, up around 90 today. And you were saying, though, before we went on the air, that this time you've been seeing a lot of respiratory illnesses. Is that common when, temperatures change and you go from, warm to cold? People have a lot of breathing issues?
It seems to be, I don't know that anybody's ever explained it, but I can tell you towards the end of September, the hospitals are full of asthmatic attacks and emphysema and pneumonia, and we've certainly seen a lot of that recently. I think it's a combination of the cooler nights and the fact that this time of year there's a lot of ragweed and other pollens in the air, and it's sort of upper respiratory tract gets infected, and then lower respiratory tract, which is the lungs, they start to get inflamed and this buildup of mucus, and then it just sort of snowballs from there. And we just see a lot of it. I don't know why.
Interesting. I thought of you when I saw this morning. H2O equals happiness. A new survey found that people who drink a lot of water every day are happier than those who don't drink much water. And it found that you're 3 times more likely to be happy if you if you're thinking you're drinking enough water. They say the average American drinks about 5 glasses of water a day. But it seems that the more water you drink, the happier you are. 80% of those who drank 10 or more glasses of water a day said they're very happy, and those who drank no water describe themselves as not very happy. So I know that's not medically speaking.
I think the key to that is you drink that much water, you get a lot more exercise.
Running to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Good point. I never thought of that way.
I wonder who comes up with these studies. I certainly agree with that, but,
well, I know
next week it's going to be, if you drink so much of this type of cola, it's healthier or better for the brain. I don't know.
Yeah, there'll be a study out that contradicts this probably in a week or so, but I know how you are a big advocate of drinking water. And so I thought of you as soon as I saw that today. But no matter what you do, if you're drinking a lot of water, that is a good thing for you. And that really is the best beverage fluid you can ingest.
Absolutely. That's what nature teaches us we should drink is water. There's different levels of quality that we talk about in Fit for Life, but that should be the goal for everyone, to try to move into drinking more water than anything else.
Definitely. Speaking of Fit for Life, week 4 already.
Week 4, yeah.
A month in the books after tonight.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. Tonight's topic?
Nutrition and disease. So we'll talk about foods that make us sick that contribute to chronic disease.
We had a story earlier today about if you could eat one food the rest of your life, what would it be? And the answer was pizza.
Yeah.
It seems like that's one of those foods that everybody loves, pizza.
Pizza it's definitely tasty for most people. So
yeah.
I'm not surprised by that answer.
Yeah, even the pickiest of eaters, I think, like pizza. It's one of those dishes that America has just absorbed and consumes so much of. Yeah. So I mean, there are healthy pizzas, right?
Sure. There's different levels of health in terms of pizza, but when my kids were younger, I would ask them things like, what tree does pizza grow on? Where in the garden can you harvest a hot dog? Get them thinking like, I don't know, Dad. Don't ask me these dumb questions.
Yeah. Well, speaking of nutrition tonight, I mean, one of the things that you always show, and when you talk about Fit for Life, you even show the slides of various colors. For example, vegetables.
Yes.
You've got green. You've got yellow. You've got orange. The plethora of colors is a good thing if you're consuming those vegetables or fruits. You're probably feeling pretty good.
Yeah. And last week, one of the nutritional challenges I gave the class was to eat 4 different colors of vegetables, 2 different colors of fruit every day. And some people, just the idea of eating 4 vegetables is just overwhelming. But I tell them it doesn't matter how much you eat. If it's 1 orange baby carrot, and just a couple leaves of maybe a spear of broccoli, that's a green color. It doesn't have to be a lot. Start out with small volumes and do it for your health. look at that as your medication and start small.
Exactly. It's interesting because some of these, fruits and vegetables loaded with vitamins and nutrients, but some of those have been identified as what they call superfoods.
Yeah.
And I know one of those, I'm not a huge fan of like citrus fruits and things like that, but blueberries is on that list of a superfood, and I just absolutely love blueberries. So find one, I guess, that you really like and go for it.
And start with that, and just a handful. I had 3 or 4 blackberries this morning. I normally don't eat blackberries, but it's something different, and it's healthy.
Yeah. And that's what you'll be talking about tonight at Fit for Life. Again, nutrition and disease, and they go hand in hand because a lot of things you eat contribute to your poor health or your good health. I mean, it's just that's where you explain and put it out there that people can understand it. Maybe you didn't think about that, and this is what you point out in Fit for Life.
Right. We'll talk about high fructose corn syrup. We'll talk about hydrogenated fats, what they mean and what they do to us. We'll talk about the fact that some of our foods, enriched flour, for example, sounds like it's a very healthy flour, but it's actually deficient in most micronutrients. We'll also go over their blood work, and I will explain each of their blood tests. And we'll talk about the evolution and the change of the American diet over the last 100 years, which to me is really fascinating.
Can't even imagine with all the restaurants and processed food and things like that over the past 50 years it has to be just incredible.
It's really interesting when you take a look at it and see how we've changed and why we've changed the foods that are available at the grocery store, and even the history of the American grocery store, how that evolved.
Right.
It all has an impact on our food choices.
Very much so. We're talking with Dr. Tim McKnight, Talk to the Doc on a Tuesday morning. And this all goes hand in hand with the, once you explain the nutrition and the foods, then you get into talking about the food labels and so forth, which I found completely interesting of how you, can read those food labels and you don't realize it. It totally changed the way when we go to the grocery store, every item I buy, I look at that nutrition label now, which is it's mandated, correct? That it has to be on every.
That's right. Yes. And so what you'll realize now when you've had tonight's lecture is, okay, here's 3 or 4 things when I see on the food label that throw up a red flag for me.
Yeah.
And so we're laying the groundwork for foods that we need to be careful with and try to avoid.
Yeah, carbs, sugars, salt, all those items that you don't realize the amount that is in everything you pick up at the grocery store. So it really does change the way you buy your food and what you use for your cooking and eating.
The first step of any change is just awareness that I'm doing something wrong. And tonight will help people to see that most of the foods in their cupboards and their pantries have a lot of ingredients in it that really aren't good for their health.
Yeah.
And they don't realize it. It doesn't look like it's really a bad food, but when you start to break it down and understand what those ingredients do in the body, it becomes something that you'll probably want to avoid.
Yeah, good. It's a great topic. And again, week 4 of Fit for Life tonight. And again, we want to remind everybody listening, you're interested in Fit for Life, this course is already working right along, but you'll have another one starting right after the first of the year.
Right. We'd love to fill up the class. We love it when there's a lot of people in the class. It just brings a great energy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, the personality of each class is a little bit different. Some are more interactive, some are more bubbly, some are more thoughtful and ask real thought-provoking questions. But it's always fun to get a feel for the personality of the class and then see how things change for the individuals over the course of the 12 weeks. It's a lot of fun to see that.
And I think that's a perfect analogy because you've had many people that have been back. And it'd be interesting to know the percentage of the amount of people that are in their second, third, fourth time around for Fit for Life. Because I know you've had many, many people that have taken it more than once.
Yesterday, I had a local business approach me about doing a Fit for Life class at their place of business. Wow. And we had actually done this course there about 10 years ago, and many of the employees are still talking about it and want to bring it back. So we're trying to figure out how to do that.
And the best way, if you know somebody that's been through Fit for Life, ask them to take a look at the book that you receive when you start the class, because that has been a game changer for me. I mean, I refer back to that book all the time, and you can, like tonight, you want nutrition and disease, boom, you flip to that chapter and you can read up on, maybe you had some questions or you didn't quite catch it the first time around. So that is worth its weight in gold, the book itself.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There was a lot of work that went into that. A lot of other people helped that whole book to be developed. So I'm really happy when I hear that people use that book as a reference. And it's been about 10 years since it was written, so it's time probably for a revision and an update. But there's still a lot of good content that I'm glad people refer back to.
Fit for Life version 2.0. Look for
there
that
you go.
Coming soon. So
yeah.
Interesting. Dr. Tim McKnight, always good to catch up on Tuesday mornings. Talk to the doc, and of course, anybody has questions, they can always route them through us or Dr. McKnight on staff at Trinity Hospital, Twin City. Good to visit as always.
I really appreciate you bringing me in, Steve. I love talking about this, and I want to thank you and the station for allowing me to do it.
Got to tell you, I'm learning so much, and it's actually changed the way that I approach the world, especially with fitness and nutrition. So thank you for that.
Great. Thank you, Steve.
All right, Dr. Tim McKnight, we'll talk again next Tuesday morning.